Hello and welcome to the Winning Agenda's coverage of the International Twilight Struggle League. My name's Jesse Marshall and I'm here with my final game of the Swiss. Actually, I really know I'm wearing these, don't need that. The game sounds, it's probably better viewing without them. So anyway, we've got a pretty good hand here. What do we want to headline? So Suez Crisis, not an ideal turn one headline, although it is good with Middle East scoring. The problem being that we don't really have a good coup to follow that up with. So we could headline Suez Crisis with the idea being to remove them out of Israel, coup them out of Iran, and then hopefully get a good Middle East scoring off this turn. That's okay. We could also, Korean War's not amazing. Arab-Israeli War accomplishes some of the same objectives while still keeping Suez Crisis in the deck. Since they haven't set up in France, I'm probably a little more inclined to go with that, although Suez Crisis is 100% to remove them out of Israel, so that's a little better. Decolonization is too much of a risk. Middle East scoring is no good. We're not going to 5-year plan, and we're not going to Comic-Con. So I think it probably really is between these two cards, since we have the Middle East scoring. And I think I'm going to go with Suez Crisis, even though it costs us an op, and so if it gets defected, it's worst. And obviously if we get red scared, it's obviously bad to lose ops. I think denying them access and being sure of doing that is pretty good on turn one. So we'll still coup with Comic-Con because it gives us the best shot of removing them. Failure. So that's not good. But we still have the opportunity to reduce DEFCON by coupping again if they don't spread from Iran, although chances are they've got some ops to be able to do that here. And once we reduce DEFCON again, we've got the opportunity to use decol to try and get some better positions going in Asia, and also to threaten France, although obviously everything's a little bit less of a threat when we've got Red Scare Purge on us. So yes, being red scared turn one is never where you want to be as the USSR, or as either side. I mean, getting red scared once or twice in the early war can really make or break your game. But I think as the US, obviously you have more comeback potential in the late game, so getting red scared as the USSR can feel a little bit more painful. So red scare followed by another 4-up is not exactly what we wanted to see. And of course, they've gone into all of the kind of relevant places to go with the 4-up. I think we might pull the trigger on decol now, just because we don't really get another bad coup is just another bad coup. Yes, they're progressing across to somewhere where they can threaten to dominate us in the Middle East, but hopefully by doing this we actually put a bit of pressure on them to start putting ops into Asia. So I think we're going to Laos and Thailand rather than going into Indonesia here, because I think we want to put one in South Africa. It could be one in Angola instead, even though they have a decent coup there. But I think it's actually one in South Africa. Just because we're so down on ops here, we just want to kind of keep some control of our spread. But yeah, obviously, just looking at the ops so far, I'm not talking about luck. I just mean in terms of the ops expended so far, and again in terms of efficiency and what they're doing for both of us. All right, well, that's a bit of a lucky break because it means I actually really don't mind playing 5-year plan here. Losing any of these cards is much of a muchness, including the scoring cards. So they are not going to get anything out of us doing it, and this secures us Thailand. So that was a bit of a lucky break. I think Korean War is probably the one we wanted to see least go out of those, but again, it's no big deal. The problem with Korean War going there is it gives them a turn and a half of being able to play into Korea without having that threat hanging over them. But that's okay. So in our next couple of action rounds, we have to get Sorry about that dog barking in the background, by the way. In our next couple of action rounds, we have to get some influence into the Middle East just to try and defray these points a little. So it might be that we go one into Syria first up, because I'm playing to Lebanon here is bad when DEFCON's at 3 anyway. Okay, so they're going straight into France, which, I mean, Suez Crisis is out of the way and we've got adjacency, so I can completely understand that. Let's just go here, try and even this up. So look, I mean, you know, that's about as good a start as you can have as the USA, really, in terms of ops. So let's hope that, considering the early war deck is stacked in our favor a little bit, that things start to turn around. That was one of the things I was going to mention at the start of the recording about our hand, is that it was all red events, which kind of looks nice as a USSR player, but a lot of the time you'd actually rather have the US events, A, because they're weaker, B, because they're generally higher ops, and you know all the 4 ops are either neutral or US, and also the fewer of your events you have, which are more powerful, the more likely the US player is to have them and give you the events for free. So we'll drop this Middle East scoring for 1, and then we will probably take a coup in our last action round so we don't, strangely enough, lose ops. So we don't lose VPs to mil ops here. So we'll attempt a coup, I think. So Panama or Iran. I think Iran is still better for us here, so we'll just go ahead and do that. That's fine. Yeah, I think 1 op for a VP there is like a fine trade. We could have just played AI War. Maybe that's actually better. We get 2 mil ops out of it and a 50-50 shot at getting the VPs, the 2 VPs as well. But I think the 2 in 6 chance to kick them out of Iran was probably slightly better. So by 2 in 6, I mean obviously 1 in 3. So we had a 1 in 3 to kick them out of Iran with the coup and degrade DEFCON, crucially, which we wouldn't do if we'd played the war. Or we had the 50-50 to just get the 2 VPs as well as the mil ops by playing the event. So I could see arguments for both plays there. But I think degrading DEFCON is good for us here. Just because it means that they almost certainly don't get a coup next turn. So assuming that we get, you know, ops parity next turn, which would be nice, and maybe a couple of our events coming through for us as well. There are a few different places we can go. One of the nice things about a turn 1 headline Suez Crisis is you also deny them a non-battleground in Europe, which can be crucial. So a very low ops hand for us here, which kind of sucks. We're not going to Vietnam revolts because we're already in the region. We could NASA, but I think I'm happy to just do that AR2 after we coup. We could also play Fidel for the event here, but all of this is kind of like pretty meh stuff to be doing. I mean, I guess we could NASA in the headline phase and coup. There's nothing stopping us doing that. But I think I'd rather just capture Nazi scientist here. I think, yeah, like we're going to probably event both of those cards this turn, so we may as well event capture Nazi scientist at the time that it does the most for us, since they're unlikely to be racing us across the Middle East here. So only one, this will be our first actual 3-op play of the game on turn 2, and it'll be our 1 3-op play before the end of turn 2, which is pretty awkward. I guess, I mean, the one good thing about playing Vietnam Revolts would have been we get a little bit more ops efficiency, but we just really don't want to be putting that many ops into Southeast Asia anyway. So shish, this is going to continue the ops disparity that we've been facing And it's going to make this blockade pretty bad. But anyway, let's trigger the event of East European unrest and see where we end up. So we'll coup them here. Okay, at least a successful coup. And this now gives us a good shot at setting up a reasonable platform in the Middle East to go along with our, okay start in Asia. I think securing Thailand as the USSR is always nice, being the first to secure Thailand. But unfortunately, they had another 4-op. Although, obviously, we were expecting them to have 4-ops this turn after containment. But that was another natural 4-op. So I think now for us it's probably NASA. Although I could also have seen an argument for playing into Angola there, or playing into Angola and Burma. That may have been the play, to go 1 Burma, 1 Angola. I could also see South Korea here as well. So yeah, I think those are probably the next, the next 3 places that we want to head. Afghanistan's a good one for us to tie up as well. And it'd be good to secure Algeria this turn. I think if we can achieve that, if we can get Angola, Algeria, some pressure on India, and 1 or more into South Korea, that would be good. So they go Angola, they go UK, they go Jordan. Well, let's go with our influence, 1 South Korea, and I think 1 Lebanon here. Just because I don't want to give them the cheap country to have the opportunity to dominate us, although playing into non-battlegrounds is also pretty bad. And I think we have more battlegrounds that we want to spread to. So let's just secure Algeria for now, since we lost Angola. And we could have put a bit more pressure on in Asia potentially. Like, could have actually been 2 in South Korea, but I think I'm okay with this. Given the ops disparity that we're facing here this turn, like the fact that we know that our opponent on average is going to have significantly more ops than we have for the rest of the turn, I am kind of minded to try and overprotect Thailand a little bit, but we have the China card, so I think them just jamming into Thailand in an effort to try and flip it is probably not where they're going to go. They've got great access at the moment, and there are so many, we're not putting a lot of pressure on them, so there's so many different places that they can go on the board. I think it is good that we got CNS there because, so they've had all the 4-ops in the first 2 turns, plus containment, and we've been red scared. I think you probably don't have a worse early war than this as the USSR. This is, about as bad as it can possibly get. Because I think they've given us 0 of our events so far. Yeah, they've had all blue cards and neutral cards. Anyway, don't want to speak too soon. Luck has a way of flipping things around from time to time, but boy, does it feel like we are up against it at the moment. I don't even really want to give them Foremost and Resolution. I think I want to play the China card here just to take Korea and go and overprotect Thailand. No, we're going to overprotect Thailand with Foremost and later. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's what we want to do. Give ourselves adjacency to Burma and stop them from jamming as Thailand. And then we can use Formosa and Elsewhere on the board later. Yeah, like, at least this keeps us even in Asia. They've probably got Europe scoring this turn, judging by how many resources they've placed into solidifying that domination. And that's going to suck. But we're just going to have to swallow that and just try and get some points back in Asia and the Middle East on turn 3. If we can somehow get significantly more ops than them, perhaps have them... I mean, there aren't even any events that can save us here now, I don't think. You know, another decol would be fine, but it's still not going to give us Asia. I think the best we're going to get is... okay, so do we want a coup? I think we do want a coup. Just coup with blockade. Let's hope we roll a 2. One's worse than a 2, but significantly worse than a 2. But at least they don't get mill ops, I suppose. Yeah, a nice Indo-Pakistani war would be good as well. Yeah, another decol, I guess, would be nice, just to be able to sort of counter all this junk that we're seeing in Africa. But we did get our first event from them. Yeah, astonishing. This is quite the incredible early war. So since we played the China card, we're going to have to be a little bit careful of getting jammed in the Asian battlegrounds. But I think I am still going to event Fidel here. I don't really want to, like... Yeah. I think we're going to need all the help that we can get from every scoring. So I think we're going to need Fidel. And not just put it back into the reshuffle and hope it gets redrawn in time. So we could take Turkey here as the other option on AR6. Okay. So they're going India, and they're going Central America and the Middle East. So 1, 2... 3, we had Independent Red's event. We haven't, have we? Because they played it on turn 1. Yeah. So I don't super want to play there. And 5. So 1, 2. Maybe Finland. I mean, they've already got Romania as an Independent Reds target, don't they? So maybe we just go here for the Greece adjacency. 3, 4. And then just overprotect Poland. And then yeah, I just think we do want to try and defray this Europe scoring if we can. And since they've given us kind of the opportunity there, we might as well take it. Pardon me. So let's play Vietnam Revolts back into the deck. And give ourselves Yugoslavia. And I think Burma doesn't give us domination. We have to do this Warsaw Pact again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Vietnam Revolts, place influence. 1 in Yugoslavia. I'm just trying to decide, do I want to go one more into the Middle East? I kind of do. And I think it's 1 here. I just want to assume that we're going to draw like 3, 4 ops next turn. And that's going to be great for us. And I want to give us the best chance of dominating multiple regions if we just have some massive ops disparity in our favor. Like if we get to purge them and have heaps of ops up our sleeve, where are we going to be able to have the most impact? So we've neutralized Europe. We've got more battlegrounds in Asia than them. So we just need to pick up a couple more countries. and we've also got more. We've got the opportunity just by taking one battleground to dominate the Middle East. So we're in decent shape there. And as far as we know, destalinization is still out there. That is obviously one reason to event blockade on turn 2 to make them put destal back into the deck, but I think we just didn't. I didn't feel like we had the luxury of doing that. So there's destal. They didn't have it, so we didn't get punished for that. We don't have a lot of amazing headlines here. I don't mind Socialist Government's headline taking 2 from West Germany and 1 from Greece. And then cooing probably Angola. Again, still no 4-ops, so it's not quite ideal. But at least we've got destal to go in after we score Europe. We'll just get rid of all that influence before we play independent Reds. So that's a plan. It's just about trying to control Europe before we score. Maybe we give them the coup. I know that's controversial, assuming this doesn't get defectors. Okay. I'm very tempted to give them the coup now, actually. We can't dominate them, unfortunately, can we? Because they've overprotected so badly. That's annoying. We're 1 op of being able to dominate. 1 extra overprotection of being able to dominate them. Because if we could remove their control of 2 battlegrounds, then we could dominate. That would be quite the coup. That's what happens when they have infinite operations, I suppose, in the early war. So I think if we're planning on going AR1, which I think I am, since we can get our mill-ops elsewhere, let's just do that. Middle East is gone. They can have a coup in the Middle East. I don't care. Egypt just really doesn't matter that much. And I'd rather them waste time and operation points cooing the Middle East at the moment to free us up to do other things. So assuming that they coup, then we will probably actually just play destalinization and then try and spend our operations filling up South America. If they don't coup, then we'll just coup Africa and then do that. We can also try and put some subtle pressure on by like taking Afghanistan, then taking Burma and Vietnam, things like that, which would give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they'd need to take Japan and the Philippines. Or Japan, I guess, would stop us from dominating because we wouldn't have enough battlegrounds. But yeah, those are just a few little things that we can do around and about the place. But yeah, it all really depends on whether they want to take the coup here or not. We can also consider going to space, but given that these, we've already got the key first space race spot, pardon me, and given that these ops are relatively harmless, although NORAD, we could consider spacing NORAD because it's hardly harmless here. So they know that we have de-Stalinization. So that's fine. I think they elected not to coup. Okay, that's fine. So we'll just coup Colombia with a Formosan resolution. Not quite the role we wanted. Although, I mean, it means now if they coup, we've got mill-ops. So that frees up something, I suppose. But if they just play back into Colombia here, it's actually super annoying waste of our time and operations. And I think at that point, I'd almost just go into Venezuela and say, fine, if you want to coup us in Venezuela, as in de-Stalinize 1, 2, 3, 4. And then say, fine, coup us in Brazil or Venezuela. And try your luck, because they surely can't have another 4-op now. They've already had, what, 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they had them all. Please tell me they don't have them again. All right. So they went 1-op in there. So our options really are to spend the Korean War coup in Colombia again. And I dare say we'll probably just roll another 1. So I'm not super keen to do that. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Because we're going to play independent reds anyway. And we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Say, have a coup. Go for your life. Because if you do, then we'll go into Brazil. And then we'll coup you out of Colombia anyway and threaten the realign. So I think that's the way we want to do it. That's assuming that they, you know, have to draw another 4-op and coup Venezuela. But that may not be the case. I think we will space this NORAD because I just don't want to be giving them any more free ups than they've already had. And UN intervention. All right, so they've got it all. They truly have got it all. Cool. Independent reds. There you go. So we obviously on any of these ARs, particularly that one, we could have couped, but it's really low EV, so I don't like it at all. Nope, it's not low EV if you roll like that. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think we'll go 1 ahead here. So, do we take Venezuela back with NORAD? I'm not terribly keen on giving them NORAD, but I'm also pretty keen on getting Venezuela. But I think giving them NORAD is just worse. So I'm just going to place 2 influence in there. I think, you know, if they've got more amazing operations, then fine. I'm trying to remember what else is, if there's anything else we haven't seen yet. I don't think so. I've seen all the neutrals. I've seen Olympic Games and IP War. Yeah, so I don't know. There's probably something. No, China card. Okay, China card coming back. They lose Formosan, but they get Venezuela. Yeah, I mean, I'm not terribly worried about that play. I think that's probably on balance good for us. Let's just space this NORAD, and then we'll carry Fidel over to next turn. So, I mean, like, we're not in great shape, but we're also not in terrible shape either. Like, I feel like if we have a couple of good turns here, we can press for some good scorings, and they have failed to really capitalize on scoring so far. And we've got a China card. Okay, so try to play that towards the end of the turn. We've got defectors, which is good. We've got decol again, which is nice. So we can probably headline decol. We'll try and put lone government back in the reshuffle. We've got a nice Shay set up here as well, with at least a couple of targets. We've got public governments for space and ask not for later in the turn. So it's just, do we want to headline Fidel or decol? I mean, it's pretty annoying that they've overprotected all of the battlegrounds, to be honest, but decol's actually also just pretty good in Southeast Asia for us here. But Fidel's also good. But now let's lead off with decol. I'm happy with that. So yeah, certainly a rough early war. No 4-ops for us, and a pretty significant ops deficit, but I think we made it out of there okay. They didn't score any dominations against us, so that's pretty good. Okay. So here, I think we'd probably put one in South Africa. I wonder. So I think we go 1, 2, 3. And we spook them a little bit in Asia. And then, yeah, I think we go South Africa here. Then I think maybe it may be coup with the China card and then Cultural Revolution it back. Yeah. I think that's okay. Because I think we can threaten the rear lines on Venezuela this turn. But yeah, because I just think we can't afford for this coup to fail. So let's just go with that. We have been rolling poorly, so I kind of wanted to have a bit of insurance against that. And yeah, I think securing Brazil there is actually good. Like, it gives us a really decent chance to be setting up domination in South America here. So we've got lots of decent targets here for placing influence as well, including West Germany. Like, it's not the worst place to be placing influence. Truman's not out of the game, but it's in the discard pile for now. It's been played twice. So that's something. We just don't have the ops really to be taking West Germany, unfortunately. But at least it's, you know, keeping on, at least putting one in there might be an okay thing to do here to give ourselves, oh, we've already got adjacency to France from Algeria, but to make sure we keep it, I suppose. Although there are obviously plenty of other targets as well. So US-Japan isn't out for the mid-war, is it? Because I was thinking sometimes, you know, it's fun to just take the extra VPs and spook them in Japan. Which would also, you know, help us to solidify Asia domination here. And I would like to take Afghanistan as well. So I could even see playing a 3-op if we had a spare one into Indonesia and Afghanistan here, which would give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 countries. They would just need to fill up Japan to, you know, deny us the domination. So maybe that's not the right way to go. So that's fine. So they've said they're willing to invest some ops there. Make Southeast Asia a little less attractive, unfortunately, but that's fine. I think we'll redirect our attention elsewhere for the moment. So Libya is a prize here. I think we'll save the Cultural Revolution for perhaps the end of the turn. Like, I think we'll play the turn without the China card, as though we don't have it. And we'll just think about what are our priorities. So we're gonna shay at some point. We could have put one in Saharan states, knowing that we think we're gonna shay. We could also, so we've got South Africa, Libya, to a far lesser extent Afghanistan. I think it's South Africa for now, since Africa's unscored. Although there's also the South American battlegrounds. What's urgent for us? I think I like Libya first, even though it's already been scored. I just think sorting that out is good. It's a terrible tempo play. It's just, this is the kind of, you get to this point in the game and we've had so few 3-ups. Like we've had one action round where we've played a 3-up in this whole game, which just makes it really hard. We played the China card once as well, I guess, but it makes it really hard to set up any kind of aggressive tempo. 3-ups are just so important for being able to take 2-up countries and do something else on the same turn. It makes a huge difference. Anyway, so if not Libya, then what is the question? No, I like Libya. You know, it means they can't just play OPEC for free. It means that they can't threaten to dominate us in the control the Middle East, which they, you know, currently could with Sadat and just taking Iraq and Saudi Arabia. Okay, so we've got a point out of Asia. I don't mind that. So this at least keeps up a little bit of tempo for us. Let's go Fidel now. I think, no, we can do that anytime. Let's go 1 in West Germany, 1 in Argentina, just to make sure we don't get some lucky realigns down there. We'll also probably try and play into Uruguay this turn to try and bait out the non-battleground coup. Although, you know, we currently don't have any non-battlegrounds that they can coup, but Cameroon's not a super high value coup for us here. It's a good country to control, but it's just not. Oh man, these ops, I tell you what. Okay. So do they have any bad cards? Like, that's the big question here. Let's just space this for now. Yeah, it's just one of those games. I'm tempted to play Shay for ops, because Queen Columbia is nice here. I mean, it kind of is nice with Shay. It's just we don't really have the time to go into Uruguay. I think maybe if we go Uruguay next. I just don't really want to play this turn. I'll get rid of that. Yeah, maybe if we go Uruguay, Argentina next AR, and then final AR we go Shay. That's probably good. I mean, it just gives them VPs this turn, which I don't love. I don't think they have South America scoring. I think they would have already played it. Yeah, okay. We're not going to go into Uruguay. I don't think we're going to play Shay this turn. So I think we will so why will we do this? So actually Queen Cameroon here is good because it deprives them of domination. I think we will play Shay on our final action round. So I think we'll trigger this and we'll just fill up these. Yeah, I think that's the right way to go. Because the Shay is actually good because it's not really super high value. Yes, it gets them mill ups, but it's probably not going to flip the country back for them to coup with 1 or 2 op cards on these after we've cooed them with Shay. Assume we roll okay. That's a decent ask not for us. So 1, 2, 3. But this Shay is going to get us 2 dominations, or rather deprive them of 1 and give us the other. So that's decent return for 3 operations points on a card. So yeah, I feel like we're holding our own here. We're doing all right. Okay. So now we've got the option, I think, so Colombia first. That's a decent roll. And then Do we go here or do we go here? Either one deprives them of a domination. This gives us the opportunity to actually hold Mexico though, which I kind of like. So let's go there. So now we can actually like more aggressively coup Mexico, and it's harder for them to realign us out because we have a good hold on Guatemala. So that worked out very well for us, I think. So they, yeah, you know, they get their 2 mil ups, fine. They're all okay, but we still get to realign. Unfortunately, we picked up an Africa scoring in the meantime, but we have, you know, some good ops this turn for the first time. So we're not going to get, we've got 1 space target, so that's nice. We are not going to get defectors, so we can Brezhnev to our heart's content, and then we've got, you know, a pretty high ups hand actually. So I think I like Brezhnev here. Grain sales, okay. Arab-Israeli war. So presumably they coup, but they give us mill-ups by doing it, which is kind of annoying because it means we don't get to coup Mexico, but you know, there's always the risk. Okay, well, now we'll go... Wait, did they return it? No, they played it. Ah, but they played Camp David Accords, of course. Okay, so no Arab-Israeli war, no mill-ups for us. That's okay, because we will get our mill-ups elsewhere. So, realignments for now. I kind of like that because I like this realign Venezuela situation here. I think we'll just use lone gunman, and then if we're successful, we'll try realigning Panama. I think that's the way to go. Is it better to use 3 rather than 2? I think it probably is. Yeah, I think this realignment's important enough. Well, like, I guess we should have used 4. I guess we should have used 4. Boy, oh boy. You just... Sometimes you just think, really. Anyway, 1, 2, 3. Asia's gone, but we'll be coming back. Are we brave enough to go Japan? Or do we want to dedicate some resources to the Middle East? Or do we want to put the pressure on in Europe? So we've got a few options here because we've got ops. So I think we just write off Africa. We say we're not doing anything about that unless they give us some, you know, Africa access cards, in which case we'll take it. But we'll fight for one of these things. And I think Japan is just easier for them to take away. It's harder for us to get, but it's easier for them to take away. So let's not telegraph our plays that clearly though, hey. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's telegraph that one a bit more. Middle East, you know, obviously OPEC as well, plus Middle East scoring coming back, and you know, it's easier for us to hold on to these countries through the rest of the game. I might, I'll probably coup back in Colombia here. Yeah, that just really tilts me. So we'll go to space here. It tilts me less now. So we're playing all our cards this turn. Good to remember. Although, kind of iffy on whether we play Cultural Revolution. I think we probably do, and just shuffle it back in. You know, they get a China card play, but that's fine. So I might coup with Lone Gunman, Africa scoring, and then finish the turn with 2 4-ops, I think is where we want to go. So it'll be our first journey to being behind on the scoreboard, which I'm not thrilled about. But I feel okay about our chances of flipping Central America to something a little more positive if we can get the coup next turn. And possibly scoring a South America control, which if we can pull that off would be huge. Okay, yeah, this is less ideal. So let's flip our order of operations around slightly. Looks like we're about to cop a brush war. So we'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4. Demand a little more attention from them in Europe. They've got 4+ brush war on Thailand, which would be pretty bad for us if it succeeds, to be honest. I'm glad we filled up Uruguay if they've got brush war, because it just makes South America that little bit safer. Or, yeah, dissuades them that little bit more from heading there. Although Algeria is looking like a pretty unfortunate brush war target. That might be what they're tossing up here, actually. That would be super unfortunate. It would be pretty heavily punished for not putting the one into Saharan states earlier and then shaying here. But anyway, let's see. There'll be a lot of VPs that would be bleeding for holding onto this Africa scoring for too long. It's like, I feel like every time we kind of come back to being almost on top of tempo, they've just got it. All right, so no brush war in Algeria. We drew the China card for West Germany, which is like, that's kind of fine, although I would have liked to take it. Let's just pop this Africa scoring. Then we'll coup Colombia, and then we'll see, we'll reassess and see where we want to put these 4 operations from Flower Power. So Southeast Asia scoring, that's why we saw the Ussuri, fair enough. We'll coup Colombia, great success. So now, like, do we jam 4 into France? I don't know. Oh, come on now. Oh. That did not deserve to succeed. Oh boy. Alright. I think the answer is no. We probably don't jam 4 into France. I think we put 2 into Iraq. Maybe we do just jam them in here. I think we have to try and take the tempo back somehow, and just like trying to pick up VPs in Iraq is not really what's going to do it for us at this point in the game, I don't think. We're just not causing enough problems for them. So that turn kind of picked things up a little bit for us. I think one more good hand, like if we can pick up 1 or 2 of the mid-war power cards next turn, that would be nice. I think after our early war start, we needed, and it has been good, you know, that they've had both of the, did they event kitchen debates or did they place influence? I didn't notice. Where did that go? 1 in France, right? Okay, so we got one of the mid-war power cards, which we asked for. We've got a lot of blue cards, but they are all playable. Especially if we can crew them out in South America and Central America, and we can play this Alliance for Progress for even cheaper. So what do we want to headline? I think Muslim Revolution is okay. I'd like to degrade DEFCON in the headline phase would be ideal, so that we can just take France with one of these 4-ops. I can see headlining Brush War. Brush War Italy is actually pretty tasty here. Let's go with that. Okay. So 4+ on Italy, or do we go 4+ on Venezuela? I think we just take the 4+ on Italy. Nice. Yeah, so now if they coup, I'm totally playing 4 into France and threatening to control Europe. Cool. Yeah, I think I'm down with that. I mean, we're giving up a couple of points in Central America, but they have to pay attention to this, right? Sorry, in South America. Yeah, let's give this a go. This is going to be interesting at the very least. We have 3 4-ops. Like we could just jam it into West Germany and try and get control. If they don't overprotect here, like I'm seriously tempted. Okay, they overprotected. That's fair. That is entirely fair. So what will we do instead? I think it would be nice to score arms race. It would also be nice to probably space Alliance for Progress, although like Voice of America is still coming. And we probably want to space this Nixon to hold on to the China card. So maybe we'll just cop the VPs from that. A nice EU combo. This Muslim revolution could be nice. We're going to get Sadatted, so I kind of just want to take Iran, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia. Breaking into a double overprotected West Germany just is not possible. Not overprotect France is a big mistake, our opponent says. Yeah. That's yeah. So do we want to go Middle East is the question, and do we want to play the China card this turn? I kind of do think we want to play the China card just because we've got a bit of crunch going on in our hand. It's also possible that I want to... Yes, all DEFCON Suicide is still available. It's also possible that I want to jam it to Brazil here. But that looks pretty bad. Like, that's not good. Just able to respond with a 3-up. Since we have US-Japan, we can also take Japan and space that or hold it. It makes it pretty hard to hold it since we have to... I guess we play the China card. It's easier to hold it. Maybe we do that. Maybe we just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I think we go elsewhere first. So we'd go 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'd take 8 countries if we had Taiwan. So I think this this line of play means we lose US Japan. We can't play that. And we have to space this, which means we have to play this. So it costs us like 3-5 VPs, which is quite a lot. We get 3 back from Arms Race. And that leaves us only China Card and Muslim Revolution as our remaining plays this turn. And we'd need to spend those. We probably want to take Turkey and Spain, Portugal as well to solidify Europe domination, which makes it hard-ish to take Taiwan. So maybe we take that with Arms Race. Yeah, I am kind of attracted to this because it gives us the opportunity to dominate both Europe and Asia, which I think is a way back into the game. Although we're shuttle diplomacying ourselves by doing that. Yeah, let's do it. Came here to make some bold plays and try and put our opponent off kilter. That's our way back into the game. Playing safe is not going to cut it. So getting rid of the China card coming into turn 7 does kind of suck, but with 5-year plan and Nixon, we were in a little bit of trouble anyway, trying to hold on to it. I mean, maybe holding 5-year plan and hoping that we get Africa scoring and spacing Nixon gives us a little bit more flexibility in our hand going forward, but it's still pretty awkward if we draw CIA or another DEFCON suicide card. So I think we just want to give ourselves the best chance of actually winning the game. Oh yes, okay. Well, we don't really have a card that we want to coup back with other than Nixon, so I think we probably just do this and go 1, 2, 3. And it's fine, they can realign us out of Cuba, whatever. We're taking ground elsewhere. Taking what I think is quite relevant ground as well, if we can pick up Taiwan and Japan here. Like Fidel is always at risk of going, and if we don't have we don't want to waste high ops cards. Like if we play Nixon and just lose the China card, that's terrible. If we coup with Arms Race, I just don't think any of those plays are worth the opportunity cost and also the tempo, considering the couple of things that we're trying to set up here. Hopefully they just roll poorly on this one realignment. Yeah, okay, cool. So this now sets us up to do this. But we were going to 1, 2, 3 first. So we need to space this. How many more plays have we got? After that, we've got 3 more. So it's space this, play that, I guess, hold those 2 maybe, but again, I kind of want to get rid of this 5-year plan this turn. So space that, play that, which means we lose Arms Race or Nixon. Yeah, let's just go with it. And we could have spaced that and just hold this, but there are probably other things that we're going to want to space next turn. We just play this 5-year plan. and cop either of those things. Okay. I mean, now we can coup in Nicaragua or Haiti if we want, but I just don't think we want. I think we would rather place influence here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, what's going on there? I think I'm still connected to the internet. The game appears to have frozen. Or is my internet connection dead? None of that is ideal. I am connected to the internet. Let's hope it's not the Twilight Struggle server. See if we can restart the program. It's kind of getting to a tense moment in the game too. I mean, they're going to probably get a few points here from Central America scoring, which I assume they have in hand. And we're perhaps not fighting them hard enough for it, but kind of hoping that we can get back some points elsewhere. Although Africa is also not looking great. And I am a little bit annoyed that we lost South America too. Oh man, what's going on here? A good way to check if it's just me or if it's a server issue is usually to check the WhatsApp. There we go. I don't know why all these notifications are now popping up from our recent follows, but there you go. I think it looks like we've got a couple more to go. So where were we? I think we were in the process of playing this Muslim Revolution. 1, 2, 3. And that should be the last one, judging by my sheet there. Let's go. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. We pick up a few more VPs, hopefully from Arms Race. Oh no, we're not going to. We have to go to this 5-year plan this time. Yeah, so we've got to follow the plan that we set out before we got disconnected, which is space US Japan, and then play the 5-year plan. But that's okay. We've got a few plays here. We've got to overprotect France with one of them. And then we'll probably take Iraq or Saudi Arabia. Okay, so they're going to space, we're going to space. And then we're playing this 5-year plan. event. This never happens. So coups out of Southeast African states. We'll go 1 in France, 2 in Iraq. I suppose we could go 1 in France and then break them in Brazil. Could be more relevant. Yeah, I think that's more relevant. 1 in France, break you in Brazil. Boo. Boo to a goose. Wouldn't have minded holding on to that, I have to say. So look, maybe we get jammed in the Koreas here, but at least we've got a bit of positivity going on the board now. Yeah, maybe we should have taken Angola. I don't know. I mean, it really depends what they have in hand. Like, I was kind of banking on them having a scoring card here, to be honest. I don't know why in my head I just assumed they had one of the Americas. They certainly don't have to have one of them. It was just the impression I had, but it looks like that is not the case. So they've got influence, probably Angola, no, Brazil. Okay, well, at least we kept Angola open here. So, Cuban Missile Crisis is like an interesting opportunity for us here. Because they can't exactly coup through that very easily. Red Scare Purge is always nice. So we've got duck and cover that we have to send to space. A Red Scare Purge blockade, I think we can't really go past that, considering the situation in Europe. When life hands you lemons. So if we Red Scare Purge, what do we do? I think we go save this for a little later in the turn. And I think we coup, or do we play duck and cover? I don't really want to play duck and cover, like it's just giving them unnecessary VPs. I'd rather space this anyway. And let's just hope they don't play Europe scoring before we get to blow them out, hopefully. Well, assuming they don't defect us here. Yeah, so what are we going to do early in this turn? We need to get rid of the Central America scoring, and we don't really want to get controlled in that region. So the options are coup with... I don't want to coup with them in Tehran, but we have to play that this turn. We can't get away from that. Them tossing Europe scoring would be really annoying. Maybe we can hold that. So we can go with Nixon in Nicaragua or Haiti if we want to. And maybe they're reluctant to go into Cuba because of Ortega, but I mean, it's VPs, so perhaps they're willing to take that. But in any event, I think we have to decide where we want to take our battleground coup, assuming that we get one. They have to score South America this turn, so maybe we do just coup Brazil. Although coups one of the African battlegrounds would also be nice, I think. So maybe we headline Red Scare Purge, and then, pardon me, we will bury you coup. Brazil. That's probably the way to go, because then we can coup Colombia as well if they don't immediately pop South America scoring, and threaten to realign them that way too. Okay, headline VOA, that's annoying. That's very annoying. All right. So I think in that case, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll let them have a coup. We've got to overprotect Thailand again later in the turn. This lets us get rid of Central America scoring at 4 points, assuming they don't just play a 4 up into Cuba here, which I think is very unlikely. Then we can space duck and cover. You know, we can do a few other things with the rest of our turn and hopefully get them with this blockade. And there is still test ban, I guess, that they could have. I'm trying to think if there's a way that we can try and flush that out. Okay. So they win with the coup there. We'll just pop this. We are giving them a couple of VPs this turn, which is pretty annoying. And they get to pop South America for free, annoyingly. Okay, so Cuban Missile Crisis, we can flip one of these countries. We do want a coup, we want to hold this. I think let's just space first. Really would have liked those VPs. I always say that on space, but I would have really liked those ones. And I really hope that we don't get one small step here. Perhaps we should play Nixon sooner, just in case they play the China card. Okay. Well, let's overprotect Thailand with Nixon. This is so tense. If this blockade hits, it's going to be superb. We do need to be very careful of this. Miscounted the reshuffle. Yeah, I wonder what our opponent means. Maybe they thought we were not going to have a reshuffle because of so many China card plays. Yeah, well, there you go. I didn't even count that out, but turns out that worked out well. So, yeah, how are we going for events? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 50-50 in the removed pile. And a few more American events in this bin. Although, as we all know, the late war deck does get a lot more difficult for us. So we have to hope against hope that US-Japan pack doesn't come back. Our opponents played Sadat rather, so kind of am tempted to just put one into Europe. Put one into Egypt. Sometime in the remainder of this turn. So what have we got left? 3 ARs. So it's probably going to be Cuban Missile Blockade and Cuban Missile Crisis Blockade and then NATO. And for this Cuban Missile Crisis at the moment, I'm considering Egypt and Iraq as reasonable targets. Our Iraq is a little vulnerable to Iran-Iraq war, but you know, Saudi Arabia is vulnerable to AWOC sale to Saudis, so that's okay. Opponent going Willy Brandt, 1 into West Germany. So we could try and put pressure on them in West Germany, but like it sucks to do. Like this is ways of trying to draw out their test ban if they have it. I just don't think that we have enough leverage anywhere on the board for us to be able to do that properly. So let's just go like this. And then just hope that this blockade hits. We've played Flower Power, haven't we? Yeah. So it's not guaranteed that they have Flower Power, although they could have it. Obviously, they could have drawn it in the reshuffle. Oh, are they guaranteed to have test ban? Maybe they are. Has test ban come back out? Oh, yes, it has. Whew. Okay. So we've got a shot here. So 1, 2, 3. See where they want their 1. We might actually flip Angola with this NATO, depending on what happens. So, moment of truth. Come on. This would be amazing. Oh no, our opponent hasn't said anything. That makes me nervous. Oh my god, I'm so tense. I mean, I think the fact that it's taking a while means that it probably doesn't mean anything. Like, they've only got 1 card that they can toss to the blockade. So they've got to think about their other plays afterwards anyway. Either way. Oh boy. Okay, so let's just put the blockade out of our mind, because it either happens or it doesn't, and we don't need to put any ops there. So our last play this turn is NATO. And I think, given that tear down this wall is coming, we probably just want to overprotect Europe a little bit more. So assuming we do get it, we'll probably put 1 or 2 into West Germany and then 1 or 2 into France. And then I think we'd probably just fill up Saudi Arabia so that we dominate Middle East. The other option is to overprotect the Koreas. But I think those are our best plays for now. Flipping Angola is also decent, but pardon me. Yeah, flipping Angola could be okay because it kind of deprives them of their only remaining avenue to proactively score points before final scoring. They had ABM. Of course, we knew that. Of course, there's a mid-war 4-up that we hadn't accounted for. Oh, well. We got rid of ABM. Let's place influence here. So we're giving up 2 points to Milops by doing it this way. Not actually sure about that. But giving them Amman in Tehran just is potentially worth so many points that, yeah, I think this is probably better. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do it that way so we can flip Pakistan. Potentially. Because they did deprive us of the Angola flip using the China Guard. So yes, of course, there was a mid-war 4-up that I hadn't thought of. Okay, so they overprotect Pakistan again, and we end up in an okay spot. It'd be nice if we got Middle East scoring here. Okay, so at least Star Wars at the moment is not going off, but I'm a bit nervous and I do want to space this North Sea oil pretty early. OPEC's worth a few points, which is nice. So let's see what they want to headline, and then we might well headline OPEC, or we might headline socialist governments. We do have a UN intervention, which we'll probably use for the Amman and Tehran and space North Sea oil, I think. Assuming that we don't need to use the UN intervention on Star Wars if they manage to get past us on the space race track. The other option is to headline Indo-Pakistani war and take the 1 in 3 on India, which might be better because headlining, where does headlining socialist governments get us? It actually gets us into range to just jam West Germany, but I mean, the other option is to headline test ban and realign West Germany. Okay, not anymore. So with that headline, I think we'll just headline OPEC and take those points. That's all right. And then we'll toss our man in Tehran to the bear trap. We could have headlined socialist governments there, but I think just we definitely want to play OPEC for the event this turn, whereas we might want the ops from socialist governments, so let's just do it that way around. And I think realistically we're more likely to want to throw some of these ops elsewhere. I mean, look, they've done a masterful job at depriving us of the coup in the headline phase, to be honest. We've had Junta, Voice of America, Grand Sales to Soviets, and I think we might have got that coup. That was the one coup that we've had in the mid-war. So yeah, it's been pretty good play by them. So here's a VP for us and a coup on Libya, annoyingly. Successful. Not exactly what we wanted to see. So it looks like Middle East scoring probably coming out here. how do we want to handle that? I think we want to handle that by Indo-Pakistani warring, because if Indo-Pakistani war is not successful, then we're just going to go elsewhere. The other option is to jam influence into Iran, since it's really unfavorable for them to respond to that, but I'm kind of okay with just doing this, to be honest. Yeah. Could have done with that, but look, we won an important brush war earlier, so we can't really complain. So Europe scoring came out on 3, so it's not even guaranteed to come out again for the rest of the game. But it would certainly be nice to have it. So space racing, Korean War. Okay. We'll space race North Sea oil now. Fail again. Oh, I really... Yeah. 2 shots at those VPs. They would have been nice. They would have been nice. So we probably want to... I don't mind sock gubbing at the end of the turn here. It also turns off special relationship if we do that. Might hold this UN intervention. So what does that mean for us? I think it means... Okay, that is fine. Placing these 2 influence into Israel. And then taking Israel with nuclear test ban, if we can. Playing the summit, and then playing the socialist governments. So look, the game's been an arm wrestle. We started off significantly behind, and I think we've now got ourselves into a position where we're even, if not slightly ahead. So I'm pretty happy about that. Let's go the other way around. 1, 2, 3. So let's see what they do here. Because if they don't realign us out of Cuba, I'm just going to coup them in Haiti. Great. So let's coup Haiti. Then we can fill up Cuba and Israel before the end of the turn. Or that depends on whether we want to event this sock up or not. I think we probably don't, to be honest, but I mean, the other option is to like save the test ban for headline next turn so that we can realign West Germany, so we could like play 3 into Austria to give ourselves the extra +1 on the rail lines. It's possible, especially if we draw Europe scoring, that we would want to do that. Then they could have tear down this wall anyway. So these plays would be safer to go Israel. Allende coming us back in Haiti. All right, that's a powerful coup. Certainly a powerful coup. I'm kind of tempted by this like test ban realign West Germany situation. It's really tempting. Actually, holding you an intervention and just playing these ops is so much better though, I think. Oh, okay. Let's figure this out. Let's just do this, because the SOCGov doesn't really matter either way. Let's see what they've got towards the end of this turn as to whether we want to hold on to the test ban or not. Holding China card on your intervention in turn 9 would be like seriously nice though. makes it like much more difficult for us to die. And I know they get to go last, but we can mitigate that a little bit by overprotecting a few things here. Okay, Lebanon, and then 2 from Libya. Or do we take 2 from Iran? It's much less. They're going to spend these 2 filling it up either way, wherever it is. Cool. So I think let's play it safe. 1, 2. Three, 4. Fine. That is a bit annoying. Yeah, like maybe it probably is attack India actually with that 4-op. That's probably the play, since we know IP war's gone. Alright. So we've got another brush war opportunity here, but I think we just have to Older James remix in the headline phase. We've also got Shay, so that's an option. But I think Older James is just so powerful. They don't have the China cards, so if they've got Lone Gunman, we can really get them. Yeah, let's go with it. So Pashing, Middle East scoring. Special relationships, pretty good. Glasnost is also okay for them, but yeah, I think it's just special relationship. I mean, what do they get from the discard here? They get Star Wars, that's pretty good, or Voice of America. Yeah, maybe we don't want them getting stuff back. Although them giving us coups in Africa is pretty bad. I think we just can't afford to give them Voice of America for turn 10. Okay, an extra 5 minutes. Yes, give our opponent an extra 5 minutes. So, I think that should be enough. That gives them 12 minutes to play 2 turns. That's, you've all seen me do 3 or 4 minute turns towards the end of the game. So they do have a little bit of thinking to do here. So Glasnost, arms race. So we left them with special relationship. They've got Middle East, they've got Pershing. So if I would kill on Egypt, we'll try and hold Sadat, I think. Where do we want to brush war? So Libya's okay. Pakistan's not great. I think actually we want a Shea here. To protect Cuba. But those 3 VPs are also pretty good. So let's do that. Let's do an Evil Empire space race. Oh boy, that hurts. We gave up a lot for that. I mean, it feels really good if it comes off, and it feels so bad if it doesn't. Okay. Oh, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, so we can hold Sadat. All right, thankfully. We can coup here. And a better roll this time. How many bad rolls in a row can we have here? Oh boy, at least Cuba's a little bit safer now that we've got Nicaragua. I mean, I guess we could have couped Cameroon in order to try and brush one Nigeria, but... yeah, so where do we brush war here? I'm less inclined to brush war Mexico now that they've couped Guatemala once. More inclined to to brush war Brazil. Cool. So let's 1, 2, 3, I think. That'll do. I think we need to get on the board a bit more in Africa here. Please don't succeed. Oh, that is so rude. That is unbelievably rude. Okay. So we're going to coup Colombia, and we're going to roll well this time. Look, it does the job. It means we can brush war Panama, or we can brush war Venezuela, which is actually at 3+, which is actually better. Oh, sorry, 4+, which is actually better than brush war in Brazil. We can still brush war Libya at 3+, which probably was actually the play. Overprotect Libya here? I don't know about that. So we can brush war Libya, or we can try and brush war into South America. I think we just take the safe Libya here, because we can just coup Brazil anyway next turn, hopefully. So, well, we rolled a 4, but you know, it's good to get that, and it's an extra VP. So they've got Glasnost for a coup. They've got Olympic Games and Middle East scoring. Okay. Well, that worked out well for us. We can't quite wipe them out of the Middle East on these last couple of action rounds because they've overprotected Iran. So we have to think a bit more carefully about where we place this influence. So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then odds up on for us to be able to take that with Chernobyl. So I think I like that because they've got to play Middle East scoring and they've only got a 2 up. So I think that brush war actually worked out really well for us. Oh, they've got 5-year plan. I miscounted. Of course, they've got 5-year plan Middle East scoring. Why did I missed Olympic Games? Somewhere, did I? Oh yes, I did. AR1. Okay, well, it didn't work out quite as well as I thought. But let's just give it another go, I think. Here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we could also flip a Southeast Asian country here, but I think this is just as, if not more important. So they're going to get, we're going to get Middle East scoring for 5, and then we're going to be dominating the Middle East going into the final turn. Sorry, dominating Asia going into the final turn because shuttle diplomacy will finally go away. So that all looks a bit nicer, doesn't it? Okay. So do we headline lone gunman here? I think we do. And then I think we play Muslim Revolution during the turn, probably. So let's just headline that. Okay, yeah, I mean, it was very possible that was going to happen at some point. Okay, so no scoring cards for them. Let's coup Nigeria. Then let's place influence with de Gaulle leads France. 1, 2. 3. So now we can study their hand a bit more. Latin American death squads. Ortega elected Nicaragua, which is no longer a DEFCON suicide card. Flower power. How am I to stop warring, which we need to be careful of. Oh, not anymore. They're cooing there, Nicaragua. Okay. And they've got Ortega. That's interesting. John Paul II, Latin American debt crisis, which they'll probably hold along with maybe decol. Okay. Pardon me. So I think we coup with Yuri and Samantha. Here. No. Let's just coup there. I think it was a bit greedy to go Colombia there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plays left. 1, 2, 3, 4 space. Okay. So we are safe and we don't have to play Sadat. So I think we play the Reformer. I think we put 2 in the UK, 2 in Greece, 2 in West Germany. Although there's just not really much point doing that because there's no point jamming with Muslim Revolution. So we may not even play. Oh, we may even get 6. Oh, we'll get 6 from it if we play Europe's going first. Yeah. So yeah. I think we probably don't event the reformer here then, is the answer. We probably want that for ops. Okay. So let's play this. Then I think we want to go to space. Okay. Go there. Hey, we're back in. So maybe, let's not go to space this action round then. Let's go Nicaragua. 2-3 Pakistan. So we can threaten to flip Pakistan with the China card. And then we can look to remove their presence from the Middle East with the Muslim Revolution. Pardon me. And China card as our last 2 plays. China card to flip Pakistan, hopefully, as 2 of our last 3 plays, and then a space as well. Hopefully that will do it for us. See where they go. Influence, they go 3 in Cuba for control, and then 1 back into Pakistan. So now I think we go space. Oh boy, if we lose by 1 VP or less than 3 VPs after all that effort, I'm going to be pretty upset. So we want to overprotect Uruguay is the thing. So what have they got left? They've played their flower power. They've got John Paul, Latin American debt crisis, decolonization, and puppet governments. So decol and Latin American debt crisis cause them a few problems. Puppet governments solidifies Africa for them and Central America. Muslim Revolution, I think that's better. Let's go 1, 2. 3, 4. And then see where we end up. So they've got to play John Paul, okay. Goes there and there. And then we'll go like this. We didn't overprotect Uruguay, which could have been actually a mistake there. But are they going to give us this? Yes. So we get to go Uruguay, Brazil. GG. Ooh, that was an outstanding game. I hope you enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed playing. That was a bit of an epic. I didn't think we were going to get there. crazy game. I thought I was done for. War. Oh, thank you. That's very kind. Thought you played very well and kept under pressure the whole way. I certainly never felt in control of that game, and I never felt like the pressure let up. Miscalculating that moment with the blockade, that's going to be funny watching back. And for those of you who knew about the ABM and were just laughing at me when I was feeling tense, hope you enjoyed that. Good luck for our opponents the rest, and thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you next time with some more Twilight Struggle. Thanks a lot.